Right guys, welcome to the 7th episode of Below the Bar.
In this episode, expect to find out what happens at a Royal Marines pass-out parade, why we have beef with the carnivore diet,
And how to negotiate with a crackhead in a nightclub.
let's get into it.
And we're back in.
After a big weekend, this is fresh off the press.
Yeah.
So we're going to cover the weekend we just had, basically celebrating some stuff. So we're going to deconstruct it from Friday all the way to Sunday because carnage ensued all the way through.
Yes, so where have we been, Chef?
So we started down in Lympstone.
Yeah, so we've been down in Lympstone, near Exeter, for our mate's pass-out weekend.
Yeah, so he's now one of the Brotherhood.
So he's now in the Corps, and we basically got the nod to go and celebrate it with him. So
yeah, so that was
shout out Al, cheers for inviting us.
Yeah, that was an honour, to be fair. It was basically his immediate family.
Yeah, basically his immediate family and then us two hats.
Yeah, so we got an invite as part of his entourage to go to his pass out, which was really cool. We got to sit in the stands and watch everything, and we'll go through kind of what happened during that day. If anyone's interested, what happens, during a pass out parade in the Marines, and then the subsequent drama that followed.
Yeah, it's probably going to be quite a lot of loose dits in this episode. So
strapping.
If you are of a nervous disposition, get out now. But before then, we have to cover weekly segments of Helmet of the Week.
Oh yes,
And we've got a corker this week.
Yeah.
The disdain I feel for these particular individuals is palpable.
Well, he's polluted your algorithm quite heavily, hasn't he?
See, what TikTok hasn't understood there is just because I'm watching his content doesn't mean I'm enjoying his content. It's like a car crash I can't look away from.
Yeah, it literally is. Everything you send me now is this bloke.
Yeah.
Eddie sent me this insightful video. No, it's another one of him calling someone a hat.
Yeah. So the Helmet of the Week this week is people that preach the carnivore diet online.
Yeah. So if you don't know what the carnivore diet is, you're probably not missing out on much, right? So it's basically just meat.
Yeah. So you basically only eat meat, eggs, and raw milk.
Yeah. So
or products derived literally immediately from an animal without being processed.
So it's like ultra keto, basically.
Yeah.
It's ultra low carb or no carb. It's protein and fat is all you eat. So you have zero carbohydrate in your diet and also zero micronutrients.
Yeah, zero micronutrients, zero balance, zero variety, and zero fucking longevity in your own existence.
And zero chat.
Yeah, and zero chat. So the one particular individual that caught my eye describes himself as the carnivore coach on TikTok. Yeah. I call him the carnivore cunt.
Yeah. Anyone who has that in their handle and gets business is worried.
Yeah. So the one particular video, the one particular TikTok that really cemented his position of Helmet of the Week.
It got him over the line.
Was the fact that he was encouraging people not only to do the carnivore diet, but then when they're out and about and they can't prepare food at home, that they go to McDonald's and just order 10 plain beef patties.
Yeah. So no bun, no cheese.
Yeah.
No sauce. So you literally get the driest part of the burger, which is processed anyway.
The fact that anyone that describes themselves as a fitness coach is encouraging people to go to McDonald's anyway is worrying. You could deconstruct that in of itself.
That's true, but also that's not balance, is it?
No.
You're just taking it to the nth degree. You're just going far too down the Nor's rabbit hole. So
the success of any diet basically lies on whether it's sustainable in the long term and whether there's actual any balance there.
Yeah.
And he's not hitting any of those criteria.
No, so the two things you got to do, like you said, adherence, so someone's got to stick to it basically.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's fucking useless. And it's got to essentially be self-sustaining in that it's got to have everything you need in it. So you haven't got to have any supplements to sort of backfill that, which if you're going to be healthy and well-rounded on a carnivore diet, you have to have, because you're not, by definition, having any vegetables or any fruit.
Yeah.
So you're leaving a massive hole that you have to then fill with supplements, which he probably doesn't even do. So he's going to get scurvy.
Well, I just don't understand how people can claim that A, that they feel good, B, that his carnivore diet is healthy, because eating that amount of red meat is not good for you. Your colon hates you.
Yeah, it's just not.
There's
not pretty.
no dietary fibre there whatsoever.
No, and the other thing you sent me actually, which caught my eye and annoyed me, was when he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm having a cheat day today on the carnivore diet, right?"
He's a cheat.
Yeah.
He's a fucking charlatan.
And he proceeds to have like carnivore ice cream, which I imagine is just like whole cream, whatever.
Yeah, it will just be like full fat whole cream.
Yeah,
they're
you're
basically
not allowed sugar.
Yeah,
So,
they basically just milked it out the cow and let it ferment.
yeah, which sounds goppy. And then he had that pizza thing. So if you don't know how he makes a pizza, rather than having normal dough like a fucking normal human being, what did he do? Fried chicken or something?
Yeah, so he's gone for the psychopath option here. What he's done is he's boiled chicken, shredded it,
Yes.
and then kind of
merged it together with egg, didn't he?
yeah, he's binded it with egg,
Yeah.
and then kind of
Baked it in the oven.
mushed it into a dough,
Yeah.
inverted commas,
Yeah.
and then baked it.
And
He's got the same trick with bread as well. Do you want
That
to
was-
reveal his bread trick?
That was ridiculous, right? So, in the effort to not eat bread or any carbohydrates, he's made bread, right, out of ground meat.
Right, yeah. So what you've done there is you've just ate meat.
Yeah.
It's not bread.
And he's actually spreading fucking butter
And
on this
also,
bread.
and also, right, if bread is the enemy here, why is he trying so hard to also then make bread and eat it?
Yeah, ridiculous. I can't get on board with anything like that. It's a bit like when vegans have meat replacement stuff. It's like, well,
Yeah.
right, you don't want it, so don't have it.
Or like when a lesbian uses a dildo.
Yeah.
So, do you want cock or you don't want
Yeah.
cock?
Do you want carbs or you don't want carbs?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing.
It's exactly the same. So he's basically stooped to the level of hat.
He's a hat.
Regard, so.
In fact, we need to establish some ground rules with Helmet of the Week because it's evolved as a segment. If you're a real helmet, you actually gain hat status.
Yeah, you have to go quite far for that.
Which is like 10th prestige helmet.
But he's achieved that. He's got like 400 days playtime as a helmet.
Yeah,
So
he has. His KD ratio is like nuke boosting levels.
Yeah, he's 10th prestige 70.
Yeah.
No, but that is just ridiculous. From a balance standpoint, obviously there's none there. He's, from what I can tell, like a normal healthy individual doesn't need this for like a special anti-inflammatory diet that he's been put on by a doctor or whatever, which does exist. That is a thing, where it can be so whatever ailment you might have can be exacerbated by consumption of carbohydrates, and a doctor can put you on a carnivore diet effectively, but they will give you supplements to backfill that. He's just gone. He's just seen someone talk about it and then taken essentially his entire personality and wrapped it round into eating meat.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, like as you said, as a coach, I can't get behind that.
No.
Because that just completely counteracts a lot of my principles. Equally, as a human, I can't get on board with that because he just looks like a boring hat.
Yeah, and something I hate that coaches do, we actually touched on this in the gym today, is when they have their own ideologies and ways of doing things, and then they force that on their clients.
Yeah.
And his name, the carnivore coach, would say to me that everyone who comes under his fucking guidance is now on the carnivore diet. Because it's worked for him. Don't know how, but it works for him. So it must work for everyone else. It's just like, I used to do a lot of CrossFit. I used to have clients who are 50 years old. Did I make them do CrossFit? No. Because it's not conducive with their goals.
Yeah, and it's also not optimal for them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a one-size-fits-all policy with fitness.
Yeah.
Which is like rule number one of being a PT.
You're not a coach if you just repackage your own diet and fucking workout plan and give it to every single client.
Yeah.
What you are is a plagiariser.
Yeah.
So that's another reason why.
So he's called
made it.
the Carnivore Coach on TikTok. If you want to check out his content, I wouldn't, but there you go. It's up to you.
Do so, but then report him.
So that's Helmet of the Week squared away.
Yes.
Or Hat of the Week, should we say?
Because he's elevated himself.
Well, we should celebrate him really because he's the first person to achieve hat status on Below the Bar.
Yeah, he's been polluting Eddie's algorithm for about a week now, so you can see it's sort of built up, you know.
So that's enough of that.
Yeah, we'll leave him in the dust.
Let's now talk about something positive
Yeah.
Some
Bring the energy back.
Let's celebrate some people that deserve celebrating.
Yes, let's do so.
So our mate Al is now a Marine.
He is
Marine,
fully fledged.
Marine Craig.
Fully fledged.
As we were saying, we got the nod to go down to Limpston.
Not just because of the podcast, but
yeah, we actually got VIP guests.
Yeah.
The Royal Marines reached out to us and asked us to come down.
It'd be great if you give a live podcast in front of the lads. But, yeah, so he sort of invited us down. We managed to you managed to get the day off work, which is great. And so we went down the day before, Thursday night. Weren't quite sure what to wear because I've obviously got experience of going to a couple of these. I went to one as a spectator and one as a participant. But both times I was in uniform, so I didn't have to worry about my own attire.
Yeah.
But this time I was coming in civilian clothing because I'm not a hat. And I didn't really know what level of smart to go.
And I'm obviously completely in the dark.
Yeah,
It's all completely new to me.
Yeah.
So we were both...
And our mate's pretty fucking useless in this regard.
Yeah.
But, oh, what should we wear? I don't think it's that formal. You sound. So we were going to just rock up in like jeans and a shirt.
And I'm fucking glad we didn't because we look like knobheads.
I know. So we actually ended up going in suit trousers, a shirt and a tie. So like formal, but not a full suit. Everyone else there was in like dresses and full suits.
Yeah. And we were, to be fair, we could have gone full suits, but it was actually a fucking scorching day.
Yeah.
So we kind of dodged a bullet there.
Jacket would have been off anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we went down. You have to be at Limpston for like 8 a.m. And you're met by the provost, aren't you, at the top of camp?
Should we backtrack a sec for anyone that's not in the know?
Yeah.
So, what is pass out?
Okay. Hold. So yeah, pass out is it's kind of a weird term, isn't it? Because it doesn't really get used in any other graduation setting.
No, and I feel like we fall foul of this.
Yeah,
having spoken to like our mates over the weekend to explain what we're doing, and it looks lost on them.
Yeah, exactly. So if you imagine a graduation for a university, it's the best way to describe it. So you've done loads of work, you've done 3 years of university, it culminates in one big day where you get your award, right?
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah, so the same thing. You've done 9 to 10 months of Royal Marines training. It all culminates in this final week, which is King Squad week, where you pretty much just focus. Your only focus is getting a parade ready to go and show your family and friends how fucking hoofing you are, basically.
Yeah. And this came about during the reign of King George VI, which is why it's called King Squad.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was in 1930, late 1930s. He came down to where the Marines were training then, which I don't think was Limpston. Looked around the camp. Obviously, he was mega impressed. He was like, okay, this is class. I want to give the name of King Squad to the most senior troop on camp. And just a side note, he also gave the name of King's Badgeman to the best recruits in that troop, should they be worthy of it. So,
we'll get to that.
Yeah. Yeah, so essentially, you've done your 9 months, 10 months of training. It culminates on this one day, which is your pass out parade. So we'll go through a little bit of how the day sort of panned out. But essentially, you've already been given your beret at the end of the 30 miler. So you're already a Marine, effectively. You've now just got to do the formalities and get it given to you in a formal sense, an official sense. Yeah. And after that day, you're no longer a recruit. You're now referred to for the first time as Marine, which is quite cool.
Because you're a trained rank.
Yeah.
And you're not a hat on camp anymore.
Yeah.
So, should we cover the structure of the day first? So, we rocked up at Limpston for about 8 a.m. Nice and early. Yeah. Lovely day.
It was lovely.
Great vibes.
Class.
First order of proceedings was the green lid presentation, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the first thing. That was at 9. So you get taken to like a function room. You're sort of milling about, having tea and coffee.
I believe it's called... What's it called? The bar?
Jolly's Bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Jolly's Bar.
Yeah.
It's just
not a tea room, mate.
Well,
it's not a greasy spoon.
It's a function room.
It's a formality, you got to wrap it up in ceremony.
Anyway, so that's next door to Falklands Hall, which is where you get given your green beret. So at 9 a.m. sharp, you go into Falklands Hall. Then the festivities begin essentially. So you're introduced to the VIPs, the training team that have taken the lads all the way through training.
Yeah.
You're then given a little, like, spun a little story by the most senior officer on camp, so they come down to give a little, introduction as to what your lad or whatever's been doing over the last 9 months, because you won't have seen them much or heard about it, so it's nice to get some context as to how much they've been through. You'll be shown a video, and yeah, they'll sort of just talk you through what they've been through, and then the VIPs will come in. They'll introduce who they are, who each of those are, which is cool. And they come to sort of mark the occasion. They're always different people.
Fucking. Let's to be fair, they know how to put on a good ceremony, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They've been doing it for 80, 90 years.
Yeah, they've got it squared away.
Yeah,
it's fair to say.
It.
And like that ceremony itself lasts about an hour, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like that.
It clicks by, doesn't it? So you do that, and then the lads. So there's a big curtain. The lads are assembled behind the curtain, and they get unveiled in their smart love. It's the first time you've seen your son, whatever, for ages.
Like a combat boy band, isn't it?
Yeah,
they're unveiled like a fucking prize on a quiz show.
They literally are, and they're all in their black or dark blue berets at that point, and then as they come through one by one, they'll get called up. The troop commander would have given a little one-liner to describe them, which is quite funny, isn't it? Like
that was good. Like he could quite plausibly start a career as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, that was brilliant, and this will happen every single time as well. So every lad, obviously they know them intimately. They've been their troop boss for 9 months. So anything that's pertinent to that lad and takes the piss out of him a little bit, take the edge off. They'll read that out and they'll be like, and then they'll come round, shake their hand, get the green lid, and then they'll put that on their head. They'll take for the first time their recruit lid off and put their green lid on. Go march around back in the rank as a Marine, which is sick.
Tell you the other thing I liked about that ceremony as well, when they were giving the shout outs to the friends and family.
Oh yeah, so that's cool. I didn't expect that.
So like the youngest member of the audience got a shout out, the oldest member of the audience got a shout out, the furthest travelled. So that's just a nice touch, because then it gives a bit back to the friends and family, doesn't it?
Travelled,
exactly. It shows a bit of appreciation on their end.
Yeah, and they gave a shout out to any serving or ex-military that were in the audience, which is obviously a common thing because it tends to run in the family, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
Yeah,
you got called out being a Walter Mitty.
Yeah,
that was good. Then you got barred from
then I got kicked off camp. Oh, you're that hat. Yeah, so they all get given their green beret, and then we're told like in half an hour to be at the parade square, which is where the main event happens. And then you go and sit down, don't you, and just wait for them to come out, which is class. Yeah,
and so this is now moving on to the second part of the second big part of the day, which is effectively like drill, isn't it? Really, they put on like a techie like drill sequence for you.
Yeah, so the band will come out. It's all marked by the band. The band will come and do a show, whilst the lads get inspected. Apparently, it's not an inspection. It's just the VIP or one of them will go up to each individual lad and say, how have you found training? Where are you going after this? Oh, well done.
Yeah. I'll be honest, that did get a bit tedious, but then they saved it with the actual show.
Yeah, it takes a while for them to go up to every lad, and that was a big troop, so it took ages. And then, once that's all finished, the drill instructor will then take them for the parade, the sort of sequence that they've been working on all week. It tends to be continuous silent drill, which is quite cool. So it'll be the drill instructor will say, commence silent drill or whatever his command is, and then he won't say anything for probably about 5 minutes, and they'll just march around doing marching drill, doing static drill at halt with the weapons, mega techie stuff, all in time without any commands, which is pretty sick, and that's what you've been practicing all the time, and it's in keeping with the time of the band who are playing a song. What was their song? Al told us the song. Do you remember?
Oh, it was the Rugby World Cup Union anthem. I forgot what it's called.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah,
if you're a rugby knows, you'll know what it is.
The band can play pretty much fucking anything. So the drill instructor and the troop together will come up with a tune they want, and the band will just play.
Oh, that's gonna annoy me. I'm gonna have to find it
because they're class. So yeah, they'll do their arms drill at the halt routine. That'll all be really good, really impressive, and then they'll reconvene. They'll get back into their kind of formation from before, and they do a couple of other ceremonial bits where the vicar reads stuff out.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. I'll be
Yeah,
honest.
it's neither was I. The Admiral will read loads of shit out. So top brass basically in the Navy will go and give them a pat on their back basically.
Yeah.
For what they've done.
And again, this lasts about an hour, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really good though. I mean, it's so impressive to see, especially if like I know what's gone into it, so I know how difficult it is. So it's
So I'm not normally one for kind of like marching ceremony drill kind of stuff, but just being there live, like, and given that the Marine band were parked right next to us, it was good.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was World in Union.
World in Union. There you go. Yeah, so that was kind of cool to see. And then the final bit, which is quite cool, is like the momentous occasion that everyone's been waiting for. The Adge or the Admiral. one of.
Hello, Akbar.
Yeah. We'll stand in front of the lads, and it will say Royal Marines to your duties, quick march, and that's when you march and you go and march off camp as a recruit, and then you turn around and come back onto camp as a Marine.
Yeah,
and that's like the big change, you know.
And basically everyone lines the street,
the main
drag in Lympston, and claps them in, basically, don't they? And that's cool.
And that's not just the friends and family, the like lads who are on Lympston, like troops will come. So the main drag's pretty much packed out.
Yeah, people just like fuck their detail off, don't they?
Yeah.
Just like a quick lunch break.
And then they give them a round of applause as they go through, and they march straight down and round to their accommodation. They'll square themselves away where they get rid of weapons and all that sort of stuff. And then we were waiting in the same Jolly's bar as we were before, for them to come back. And that's when like the formal side's over, and the lads can just let their hair down, have a few beers in their blues, enjoy themselves a bit.
But that's basically when their weekend starts.
It is. They've finished work then. Yeah. So they're essentially at work for the whole morning because they've got to put on a show, and then after that they can celebrate.
That's when we started drinking.
Yeah.
And I didn't stop drinking for about
48 hours.
Another 48 hours.
Yeah. That was the last time I was sober. So yeah, do you want to take it from there?
Yeah. So that's the end of formalities really at Lympston. Before we move on to what become a weekend of debauchery, do you want to just
great word that
share your feelings on your momentous return to Lympston?
Yeah. So this is
So how many years has it been since you've been?
Since I've been on that camp, or since I was in training?
No, since you were last at Lympston.
Okay, so about 6.5, I think. Since I was actually on the camp doing stuff, yeah, about 6.5.
Right, so that's a long time.
It is a long time. I've been there on the fields to do football, but I've not really been on the camp for ages. It was strange to go back, to be honest, because it's somewhere you spent so much time and have so much buried memory of.
Psychological trauma.
Yeah, exactly. So when you go back, it all gets like brought up, and you see the troops running around, you see the recruit troops going around doing their thing, and you remember when you were in that role. You know, you remember you were at the back of that stack, and you were flapping your tits off, and now you're coming back as a civilian. So.
I was gonna say it must be weird coming back as a civilian, obviously in a very different headspace for a very wholesome day, very much a celebration. Having obviously like you said, spent 9-10 months there, like properly digging out.
Yeah, shitting myself every day.
Yeah, so that must have been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, it was. To be fair, it was a little bit weird. And again, like you said, it's the first time I've been back as a civilian. And I said to you, I was like, you know, walking around, my hands in my pockets and that, and just like shitting myself. Someone was going to pop out and have a go at me.
Yeah.
Which happens when you're there in uniform as a Marine. You're still held to a high standard, so you still, you know, everyone's still going to gob off at you if you're doing something wrong. If you're there as a civilian doing something that you shouldn't be doing it as a Marine, then no one really bats an eyelid. But in my mind, they do. You know, so if I'm late for that parade, I think I'm getting thrashed. If I'm caught with my hands in my pockets drinking a coffee on the main drag, I think I'm getting thrashed. So because it's just so etched in there with the kind of relation to that place, because I'm back at that place in a training setting, in the same kind of environment. My headspace goes back to how it was when I was a recruit, because like you say, it's an imbalance in terms of how much time I've spent there as a train rank to how much time I spent there as a recruit. So that just dominates.
Yeah. But it was weird for me to go there as a civilian for the first time, because obviously I've heard a lot about the place for years from you and then other mates that we've got that are in the Corps. So it's almost got this kind of like mythical status in my own mind.
I bet.
But then having been there now and had like such a good day, you know, celebrating Al's pass out, I will only ever associate it with those like fond memories almost. Whereas most people's memories of that place are pretty fucking arduous.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite funny. We were stood overlooking the bottom field.
Yeah, which is basically where people just get thrashed.
Yeah, which is like the theatre of screams, basically.
Yeah.
And I was itching to go and have a go, but like, you know, transport me back 7 years. I couldn't think of anything worse.
You start twitching.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
Even when I was in the Corps, if you just sent me on bottom field, I'd been fuming. It's only because I'm so far removed now that I would like to go and have a little crack at it and see how I got on. But I was telling you, our boss when I was in training sat us down before bottom field pass out and was like, lads, I know you'd be on bottom field all week this week and you'll be fucking sick of it. But believe me, in a few years' time, when you come back down here for whatever reason, you'll look at that bottom field and you think, I wish I could go and have a sesh down there. And I was kind of like, at the time, I was like, fuck off, no chance.
And he was fucking right.
And he was right, it turns out. So, I think everyone does it in every walk of life, where you take your current circumstances for granted or whatever it is. But if you're in training or you're in the Corps, you get afforded such unique opportunity, and a lot of time you just spend dripping about it or complaining about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of like sappuccinos in the Corps, isn't there?
Yeah.
People that like moaning for the sake of moaning.
100%.
It's almost like part of the culture of it though, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
Got to get it off your chest.
So you were with me when I caught up with a lot of my mates, and how much of the conversation was them just dripping out the Corps?
Yeah, this became another common theme of the day. Getting recognised on fucking camp by everyone and everyone.
Yeah, that was. I was quite surprised at how many people actually were there that I knew.
So you bumped into a lot of lads that you used to work with, which was nice. But then you also got recognised by quite a lot of people that
I didn't know.
That you didn't know for like. I don't know, because they bought like your fitness programs
and
stuff,
so
which was fucking weird for me, because it was like I was walking around with bastard like James Smith or something.
It was weird for me because I've been recognised before in like Birmingham on a night out by like one person in the night, but
yeah, but you went to like the epicentre of your like demographic, didn't you?
Exactly.
Like you went to ground zero.
Yeah, so walking around there, like I don't know, 20 people stopped me or whatever, and were telling me objectively that they followed my fitness program that got them to where they were today. So it was a mega cool thing to kind of see in the flesh, like the social proof. Because a lot of time when you do stuff online and you put content out or whatever it is, you put like a program on a website, people might buy it and you get loads of sales, but you don't really think about where that's going or think about anything around that. So when I released the military program, someone has bought it, managed to stick to it all the way through without any input from me, then managed to join the Corps and pass in the entire process without obviously getting injured or whatever, which is just mega cool for me to see the proof of what I'm doing is half decent.
Yeah, it was nice to see, to be fair.
Yeah, it was just very strange, like you say. It was just not something I'm not used to.
It's just a bit surreal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a bit strange. But most of the people I met, to be fair, were old colleagues of mine, because I've been to a couple of different units, and it seems that the point at which I would be in my career now is like where a lot of people are brought back to Lympstone in a training capacity. So, or on a course or something like that. So it seemed to be a lot of people who were there. I kind of knew from work, which was also quite cool because I hadn't seen them in ages.
No, yeah. So you were chewing their ear off for a bit. It's about 2 o'clock now in the afternoon, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we made the executive decision to leave Lympstone.
We did.
To square ourselves away at the hotel for a bit before what I will term the evening send.
Yeah, so we just parked ourselves in the hotel, didn't we, for a little bit?
Yeah.
Just to recoup. Quite a knackering day, to be fair. It was about 3 o'clock when we left, but it was 8 till 3. A lot of emotion, a lot going on. Quite a long day. Had a beer.
It's all new to you.
Yeah.
So like, it's a lot of different. It's almost like an assault on the senses, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Certainly for you, because you've never been there. So we were kind of a bit zonked out, but then we had to replenish a bit of energy for the evening.
Yeah, we had to pull our shit out the fire basically.
We knew it was going to be a big one, so so we went for a meal with the lad who passed out and his whole extended family.
Immediate family. We parked ourselves on the end of the table.
Yeah.
And just got wine drunk, basically.
Basically, got ploughed with white and red wine.
That's how you can summarise that.
Which was fantastic.
So the place that we went to in Exmouth was called the Chronicle,
yeah.
which has got banging food, by the way. If you're ever in Exmouth, go and eat there.
Unreal.
And good wine.
Yeah. I think so, anyway.
Yeah, I think so. The food might not have been good either. That also could have been the wine.
True. But I mean, if you had a bottle of wine, it's good food.
But that restaurant was next to where like the lads get taken for their like piss up at the end of training.
Yeah, so for obvious reasons I can't say too much about this.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Can we disclose the location?
Yeah.
Well, if they're that keen to know, they can just see which pub's next door to the Chronicle.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it's called the place called the Pilot, and so we were walking up to this Chronicle restaurant, and our mate was like, "Oh, fucking hell, that's where we had our pass out, just up there in that pub next door." And I was like, "Right, that's where I had mine, fucking 7 years ago in that pub, exactly the same." So it must be every troop has the pass out, the piss up in the same exact pub, which is pretty mental.
And the purpose of this piss up is that's kind of like the first time you go for a drink with like your training team, isn't it?
Yeah, basically. So that's the first time like the walls come down, because initially, obviously it's very much a professional relationship, and not even that really, because they're so far your senior in your eyes and in their eyes. But as you progress through training and you gain more respect from them, and certainly as you get through the commando test, obviously, and then you get your green lead, that you're now not their equal because they're still above you, but you're kind of colleagues now.
It's like a mark of respect, isn't it? Like you've earned this drink basically.
Yeah, for the first time, and you go and get absolutely fucking rat-arsed with your training team. and a lot more happens, but
so we can't really disclose that.
Yeah.
You've obviously told me off camera what goes down,
yeah.
and it's not PC,
yeah.
even by the standards of this podcast.
So what you've got to do if you're interested in what happens is join training, spend about 9 months there, and then you'll find out first hand.
But you go to your local career office.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty mad that 7 years down the line, it's still the same place. So that place must just be the fucking snaggy bar.
That was like a nice bit of closure for you.
It was the last bit of nostalgia.
Yeah, and then obviously at this point now we're drunk. Yeah. So and this is where the night starts to fall apart. So we then go from Exmouth to Exeter, which is about half an hour taxi drive.
Yeah, that taxi drive was fucking mental.
Took forever. Drove us back past Lympstone. PTSD. Our mate is with us. Ali's with us at this point. He's arguably even more pissed than us.
Yeah, he always is.
Yeah. Again, that's a common thing.
Yeah, didn't even notice.
We make it to Exeter, and he realises that he basically only has his military ID.
Bear in mind, it's a half an hour drive, and he knows full well that your military ID is basically fucking useless.
It doesn't get you anywhere in Exeter, as we've established on the podcast before. In fact, if anything, it would get you in less places than if you had no ID.
Yeah, 100%, which is fucking hilarious. So what we did was quickly, not wanting to babysit anyone that night, we spun him round and went, right, Al, there you go, back you go.
He literally did a 360 on the spot and was firmly parked in a taxi on his way back to Exmouth.
Yeah, we made sure he had enough money. Don't worry about it. We didn't see him off. But yeah, he was too fucked to be out anyway, really. He was fucking memorable.
So now we're on a 2-man session in Exeter. And as we said, this Exeter send has been on the cards for a long time. Because we discussed it in Lifting the Lid.
We did.
You obviously used to frequent the bars of Exeter a lot during training.
Yeah, indeed.
I've heard a lot about Exeter, not just from you, but like I know a few people that went down to Exeter Uni there, so they've got the student perspective. I've heard a lot of good things, and I'll be honest, it didn't really deliver.
Nah, it didn't. So the first thing we tried to do was go to Volt, which is a gay club.
Yeah, and as you said, we're big advocates of gay clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
We're very much a friend of the gay club community.
Yeah, apart from when we don't get in.
Yeah, and we took another L. Not because we weren't gay enough this time, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we got accused of being military.
Yeah, so the bloke was like, I can't let you in, lads, because the staff and the manager think you're military. And he's being mega nice about it, right? But I was like, okay, look at your surroundings here, mate. I said, He's got a fucking beard.
Bear in mind, I've got a full beard.
Yeah, unless he's just finished on a Friday morning at 11 o'clock and then grown that in 7 hours, then he's fucking not in the military.
Yeah, put 2 and 2 together. I'm certainly not in the Marines.
Yeah, and I had my veterans card on me, so I was like, right, well, this literally proves I'm no longer in the military.
Yeah, you came clean and you were like, look, I used to be in the Corps.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Got your card out and like, this literally proves I'm like no longer serving.
Yeah, and their beef anyway was with new recruits coming down and being like Larry. I was like, right, well, we're the furthest away from new recruits as you can get. And they're like, no, the manager's not having it. You know, it's like when you get a bouncer that's like said no. It's like
you're not going to convince them otherwise. And it's like at this point, obviously, it's just the two of us, so we're not being Larry in the queue. No. We're literally just talking like this.
Yeah. So we took another L.
But fear not, because we didn't call it a night.
Yeah. We didn't stop there.
Undeterred, we ploughed on.
Yeah. Showing the commando values. So
then we went to Revs, didn't we?
Yeah, that was pretty dead.
Revs is fucking. I don't know if it's just Exeter Revs, because I've been to a few shit Revs actually recently.
I have, but that Revs we went to in Bristol was good.
But yeah, it wasn't for New Year's though.
That's true.
You'd expect that. Anyway, Exeter Revs was shit.
Yeah.
What the only fun thing that came of that was that me and Shep created a new game that you can play while you're waiting to get served at the bar. It's called Recruit Spotting.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it's not a very hard game.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking easy to be honest, because you can spot obviously that they're all blokes, they're all of the same or similar age, and if they're well built and got the same haircut, you kind of know they're a recruit.
Yeah, and they all also kind of wear the same kind of like oversized t-shirt aesthetic. Yeah, it's normally like a Dickies, Carhartt, Vans vibe.
Yeah,
bit oversized, paired with some denim jeans and like pair of Vans or Converse.
Yeah, there tends to be a style that goes through the troop, so everyone is wearing a similar type of thing, and they're normally quite Larry, so you can tell from that as well.
Yeah,
which is quite funny. But yeah, Revs was pretty dead. We spent probably about 40 minutes in there, didn't we? Got a few bevs.
Yeah, that was just more tactical drinking time. That was
exactly.
They weren't enjoyable drinks. They just needed to get down.
They were tide you over drinks, weren't they?
So then we enlisted the help of some girls.
Yeah.
And we basically said, where should we go that's good?
Yeah.
That was the extent of that conversation.
Yeah.
And
they recommended 2 places, didn't they? Timepiece and Fever.
Yeah, and we went to Fever.
Mm. I was almost sure from my experience that Timepiece was not going to let us in, because they seem to only let students in. And if we'd already had the L with the gay club, we didn't want 2 Ls. Because 2 Ls doesn't make it right.
That is pretty much night over then, isn't it? So we've gone to Fever, we get in.
Yeah,
hooray.
We enlisted the help of the girls to get in, because we knew we needed some support there.
Yeah, so shout out to whoever they are.
Yeah, not much of a shout out.
No,
they ended up with the police.
Half a shout out.
So do with that what you would.
Yeah, so, and I'll be honest, this is where my memory of the night starts to get a bit wavy.
Yeah, this is true. This is the problem with this podcast, is we were sort of reviewing what happened when we were
steaming.
So the memory might be a little bit patchy.
So my standout memories of Fever, again, having heard things about this place, it's one level, split into 2 rooms. Yeah. There's like an indie room and what I would describe as a crackhead room that like exclusively plays kind of like really nitty like EDM tunes.
Really over the top EDM. And like to the point where you can't even like dance to it.
And you'd think, given that that's the more hardcore taste, that they'd put that room second and keep the indie room first as a bit of a palate cleanser when you get in there.
No, you have to go through.
You have to go through the crackheads to make it to the indie room, which I think, you know, from a marketing perspective,
not fantastic. You could get in there and then just about turn and fuck off because it's shit. And that room, by the way, never really exceeded like 30% capacity, did it?
Yeah,
so it was never busy enough.
The busiest that room got was when people from the indie room realised they needed a drink, and then they just go next door because there was no queue at the bar.
Yeah,
I caught onto that quite quickly. That is a tactic I deployed throughout the night.
Yeah, I have quite a good skill for that. But yeah, there's 2 rooms. We spent most of the time in the indie room because it was 1 busier and 2 better.
So you say better? It was full of spotty fucking students, wasn't it? Yeah, but like the tunes were decent. Yeah,
but I mean, best of a bad situation.
Yeah, it was either that or basically like dodge syringes.
Yeah, exactly. So we chose the first option. But it was pretty. That was all right. I mean, we were just like I say, quite pissed by that point.
Yeah, well, we bumped into some of the lads that were on Al's training team. So that padded the night out quite a bit. Because we were talking to them and that kind of distracted me from the fact that I was basically surrounded by crackheads.
Yeah. Well, it did for a little bit until one of them started to infiltrate our group.
Yeah.
There's 4 of us stood in like a square, just chatting.
Just keeping ourselves to ourselves.
Yeah.
Like literally, we're away from everyone else at this point. We're near the bar,
which
is dead because no one in that room's drinking because they're all on crack.
Yeah, and this bloke who was like half homeless, half on crack, or both. And he would just try and like infiltrate our group from every angle. He like did like a petal. So he came into yours, came round, came into me, came round, came into the other lad, and eventually like one of the lads we were with, so one of Al's training team, was like, was being mega polite with him. He was like, oh mate, you fucking, you had enough, right? Turned him round, fucked him off. Then he came back. He did that a few times, and he went through that a few times.
Yeah, and I was like, you're barking at the wrong tree here, mate.
Yeah,
because this will end badly for you.
The other lad wasn't so nice and wasn't so patient. So he just kept saying to me, he's like, if he comes fucking back again, on a fucking leather him. I was like, right, yeah. So and then I stepped in and went,
I'll be honest,
mate, you don't want me.
I'll be honest. When I was steaming, I wasn't against that idea.
Yeah, neither was I, and 'cause he was getting rather annoying. But the bloke who said he would leather him was Nails as well. So
he was. So he would have leathered him.
So I turned him round and went, mate, this isn't worth it. So
what? Why? Right. And also, I attract crackheads on a night out, so this is probably my fault. Why don't they get the picture?
I don't know. They just keep coming back like a fucking
social kind of emotional intelligence do you have to have?
It's like a moth to a light bulb, innit?
They can't stay away, and it's like the more you say no, the more they want it.
Yeah, I know, it's mental.
Just fuck off.
I'm not playing hard to get, mate. Just fuck off, innit?
Yeah, I'm not gonna shag you, mate. I'm not gonna buy you any crack.
I will shag you if you don't fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty good.
So you bagged off a crack, and you know that.
That padded the night out, like you say.
And after that, I think like we had I had a row with someone. I had a row with a feminist in McDonald's. But make of that what you will.
Yeah, that was amazing. We were just playing devil's advocate, really, and it went south.
Yeah. In fact, no. In fact, no. They were being homophobic.
That was after.
Was it after?
Yeah, that was after we'd already called them cunts.
Right. Yeah. I may or may not have called someone a cunt in McDonald's at this point, and then they were being homophobic, which I took issue with, and then I think I probably called them a cunt again.
Yeah, definitely. So that was kind of the end of our send in Exeter. Like I say, I mean, not the best from an Exeter showing up point of view, but from us making the best of a bad situation, I think we did all right.
Which we have a track record of, by the way. So at this point, we finally get back to the digs at about 4 a.m. And the next thing I know, I'm being woken up
by a phone
call from Al to say that they're outside at about 9 a.m.
Yeah, so I'd been passed out till then. So we had to like...
This phone call literally woke us up.
Yeah, it was a quick time, in about 10 minutes, get all our stuff out of the room. I probably left something there, I don't know yet. And hightail it downstairs, meet them in the car, because they had to take us back to Exmouth to get my car, to then us to drive 3 hours flat all the way back.
Yeah,
on a massive hangover.
That was knowing full well, because we literally left it to the wire. So we had a bottomless brunch in Birmingham booked for the Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Yeah. So we knew that we had to leave basically hours for 2 to get there for 3. So we literally left it down to the wire, didn't we?
Yeah, we had about 20 minutes when we came.
We had about 20 minutes leeway to play with. And when that's at the back of your mind on the M5, when you're hanging out your arse, it's not a great feeling.
It's the last thing you want, really, is think about drinking again, innit?
Yeah.
Especially considering, bottomless brunch, I want to be going in there with my best foot forward. I want to be, as much as possible, getting some Prosecco down me. But when you think about that, when you've just kind of, I don't know, 5 hours earlier been smashing the gin and lemonades, it's probably not ideal.
Yeah. And like we like to do some fizz. Like we like to thrash ourselves when we're hungover to shake it off, and we didn't get the opportunity to do that.
We didn't have time to be.
No.
That fucked me up.
So you feel groggy, because you've not flushed it out your system.
Yeah, and then the only place we could get any scram was Greg's, and that was fucking like just sent me in further into a hole.
Like initially you feel better, but then when your body actually starts to digest it, it just doubles down on the hangover.
Yeah, because it realises what you just put into it. This is shit.
You just get error code in your colon basically because it's of no nutritional value.
Yeah, so then we got back anyway. Again, I had about 20 minutes to turn it round, to unpack, shower, get changed again for another night out, and then go again. But I was still in quite good spirits here because I know I've got a good send on the way. You, however, had gone a little bit south.
Yeah, I'd seen red at this point.
You hit the wall.
I had hit the wall. I'd soon resurrected myself as soon as like the first droplet of Prosecco hit my lips. But that Uber up to Birmingham was dark.
Yeah, it was.
I went to a dark place.
It's about a 40-minute Uber as well, so it's like if you're feeling shit, it's the last place you want to be.
This Uber driver was a fucking cunt as well.
He was shit as
He
well.
was shit. The one skill you need to have as an Uber driver is navigation.
I thought you said driving.
And well, not slightly more than that. You need to be able to drive and navigate.
Yeah.
He could barely do one of those things.
Yeah.
He took us the long way to Birmingham, and I know this while he's doing it, but you obviously can't tell the Uber driver how to drive because he'll just fucking chin you out of his car.
Yeah, he'll just give you a shit review.
So I'm just sat there seething, right, in Birmingham. The sun's out. It's too hot in the Uber.
Yeah, and then we got there and had to be. We waited about 20 minutes before we had a first little drop of the good stuff.
Yeah, again, the Button Factory in the Jewellery Quarter didn't paint themselves in a great light in my eyes.
Yeah, and they are going to get shouted out.
And they are going to get shouted out, and various hats that work there are also going to get shouted out for the wrong reasons.
So, you've been to one bottomless brunch before. I haven't. I had no frame of reference.
So my point of reference for bottomless brunch is Turtle Bay.
Yeah.
And
which I can imagine is good.
That's a bit like your first memory of football being a World Cup final because you've set yourself up to fail basically.
And then going to a League Two game.
Yeah, literally. So for anyone not in the know or doesn't frequent bottomless brunches, Turtle Bay in my eyes is like the goat of bottomless brunch.
So you get like the pick of cocktails. They're not like pigeonholing you to drinking one thing. You get whatever you want on the menu. You know, you can pretty much work your way through the cocktail menu.
And if you get a sound waiter or waitress, they'll just square you away. So they'll let you double park. Like they'll have a conveyor belt of cocktails coming for you.
You're never empty-handed.
Which is good because the whole idea of the bottomless brunch is you want to get leathered.
That it's bottomless.
My issue with the Button Factory is they obviously took the fascist approach to bottomless brunch. So the only drinks on offer were Prosecco, which is shit.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, no one likes Prosecco.
It's fucking shit.
White girls pretend they like Prosecco, but they can't drink, so they wouldn't know what tastes good anyway.
If you've got to fucking drink a lot of something as well, the last thing you want is to be heavily carbonated.
It's so acidic as well.
It's horrible to drink a lot of.
We're hanging, right, having drank loads of booze the night before, like Jaeger bombs and stuff, like really acidic alcoholic drinks.
Yeah.
And now we're basically just lining our stomachs with fermented grape juice, which is like ultra acidic.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't pretty from a gut perspective, but we powered through, and we got I don't know how many do you reckon you had in that 2 hour period. I was trying my best to sync them.
It's hard to gauge because my other issue with the Button Factory is that they served the Prosecco in what could only be described as a thimble.
Yeah, this is true.
It was 2 decent gulps, and then you're gone.
And then you sat there waiting for 5 minutes.
Yeah, because they don't leave the open bottle of Prosecco on the table. It has to be served to you by a hat.
Yeah, so you take a lot of deficit there. So you've got a lot of dead time.
So at one point, I actually tried to take matters into my own hand and just commandeer a bottle of Prosecco.
You got a dirty look.
And yeah, that didn't go down well. Yeah. So make of that what you will.
Yeah, so not great, but I mean, the theme continues. We made the best of a bad situation. Yeah, we were still smashed by the time we left.
So smashed, in fact, that some of the girls that were in our party then had to start drinking water at the next venue that we went to.
Yeah.
Which again, I wasn't happy about, but we won't dwell on that.
Yeah, because 2 hours into a sesh, you're on the waters.
Yeah, 2 hours of bottomless thimble Prosecco. Saw them off. So at this point, we're feeling pretty merry again.
Yeah, back in.
It's about 4 p.m.
Yeah.
In central Birmingham. The sun's out. Summer vibes.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we went to this place as well on the canal front.
It's called the Canal House, isn't it?
House, yeah.
Which we'd never been to before.
Never heard of it.
I'll be honest, I was dubious when it was suggested.
Yeah.
And then we got there and it was mint.
It was class, wasn't it? So it's just exactly what you wanted. In the sun, busy, had some live music later on, decent drinks. It was literally just what you want.
Yeah, and
on an afternoon.
And as it says, it backs onto the canal, which was just basking in the sun. It was class.
It was mint. So we spent probably 4 hours there, didn't we?
Yeah.
Spent a long time. So like 4 till 8 o'clock, we were just smashing beers in the sun, and then we moved on again.
And at this point, just check in with people on alcohol levels. I'm fucked at this point. You're fucked at this point.
Oh yeah.
Our mate Al, who is obviously kind of like the main focal point of this weekend because he's passed out, has been getting drinks brought to him.
Yeah.
All afternoon. So he's really fucked at this point.
He's ruined.
Again, which is a common theme.
Yeah.
But even by his own standards, he was pretty loose. So then, if you're familiar with Birmingham or Liverpool or Manchester, you'll be aware of the Albert Schloss venue, which has become a bit of a favourite of ours.
It has.
Over the past year. So naturally, that's where we went next.
Yeah. So we went to Albert Schloss, which is, if you've never been, it's the best way to describe it. It's like a German style bar, isn't it? Where
it's a German beer house that kind of also doubles up as like a bit of a live music venue in the evening.
Yeah, so in the evening from about 7 o'clock, every half hour they have a live sort of set on where they'll play not their own music, they'll play music you know.
They'll play covers.
Yeah, and then you show the dance floor's open and all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty good for where we were in the night in terms of how pissed we were and the day we'd had. It was exactly where you wanted to be.
Yeah, it's perfect. And like I don't know really why, but for whatever reason in Birmingham, like people just seem to gravitate towards that venue, don't they?
Yeah.
Like you can always guarantee that Albert Schloss will be live.
Yeah, and it was fucking rammed, wasn't it?
And it's always fucking rammed
so
on a Saturday.
busy.
To the extent where like it's a good job. It's kind of perfect for day drinking because you have to kind of get there for about 8-9 p.m. Otherwise you won't get in.
Oh yeah, no chance. There was a massive queue by about half an hour after you came. There was a mad queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have got in really if we went any later. So like you say, it's ideal for what we wanted.
And this is where the night really starts to unravel.
Yeah.
Because as you said, like, this isn't a two-man send anymore, like Exeter. This is like all of our mates from home are out now.
Yeah.
So it's just drinks coming thick and fast. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, I don't think I bought a drink, to be fair. I was getting bought. I wasn't complaining. So I was fucking written off. So I was already in a bad way by the time we got there.
Yeah, so like no one else that we were out with, obviously other than like Al and his sister, had drank the night before.
No, true.
So like
we topped
up. I don't want to say I'm a big deal, but I am a big deal.
Now, but if you've never drank 2 days in a row,
you're a virgin.
Yeah, well that's one thing. But also, like the level of alcohol that you have from the night before, I feel like obviously you come down, you kind of sober up in the morning, but if you then drink again, you go straight back to the top of the mountain.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. At the time, you feel fucking great.
Yeah,
it's the following day.
Oh yeah,
when you feel shit.
Well, the hangover just stores up, doesn't it? And then it all hits you on that.
Well, it's like what goes up must come down.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're just doubling down on how painful the hangover's going to be.
Yeah, but we knew that, and so we made an informed decision to just continue to send it.
Yeah. So Albert Schloss delivered.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
Can't go into too much detail.
Yeah, good to go.
But good to go. Happy days. At this point now, I made what I would term a poor decision.
Yeah, poor decision.
So
something we'd spoken about beforehand, whilst sober, had now been fallen foul of when pissed.
So this always happens, right? And you might not be aware of it if you're not familiar with Birmingham, but there is a venue in Birmingham called Snobs, and it's like the corny, bit underage, like indie nightclub.
Yeah.
On Smallbrook
and
Queensway.
Again, always busy, but normally a bit shit.
And it's normally a bit shit, but this always happens, is right. I've lost count of the amount of times I've banned myself from this place. Not formally, but like you've just had a word with yourself in the mirror.
Yeah, I'm never going there again.
The amount of times I've been in Albert Schloss and it's reached about 11 p.m. and I've then proceeded to return to Snobs is he's also now unprecedented.
I've done the same. I mean, it's just it feels like a natural progression. But the problem is, you're always going from a decent place to a now a shitter place. So your level of comparison is no good there.
But
you need to climb up the ladder.
But when you're drunk, the grass is always greener.
No, I know exactly, but that's the problem.
Yeah, this is
You're
the
not
problem.
making the decision from a level headspace.
No, you're not.
You're making the decision having drank for like 7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And I'll be honest.
There's only one winner.
I'll be
there.
honest. My decision making is not the greatest.
Yeah,
When I'm sober.
well, that's true. There's only one winner there, and that's Snobs.
Yeah. So I went to Snobs. You stayed in Schloss.
Yeah,
Probably for the best.
yeah, probably. Better decision.
In fairness, it wasn't my idea to go to Snobs.
You
It
just
was
went along with
it was our mate
Yeah.
who's a loose cannon.
Yeah, true.
But-
You
but-
went along with it, following the looseness.
But I facilitated his desire, so I'm also guilty.
You're also at fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we sort of separated there, split up, and then it gets to what time is it? Like 3 o'clock.
This is like, yeah, so we put in a decent session in Snobs.
Is it 3 a.m.
Regrettably.
But I
Again, I can't really remember what happens.
not really knowing where Eddie and that were, I just got to sort of the end of my night. I was getting a bit bored or whatever. I left. I had 4% battery left on my phone. I feel a buzzing. It's Eddie. So I'm like, I pick it up. And he's like, mate, where are you? We're in a taxi. I was like, right, get him to hold it. Right, bear in mind, Snobs is a 14-minute walk from...
Yeah, it's like the best part of like a mile in it.
Yeah,
it's downhill, granted,
True.
but it is quite a fair
That
jaunt.
played into my hands. So I said, right, tell him to hold it. I'll be there in 2 minutes. Backing myself that I could run.
This is like the last chopper out of Saigon vibes now. Isn't
Yeah,
it? Like
'cause-
this is you making like the last Hilo evac.
Yeah, because it's the difference between a £15 Uber and a fucking like
£50
£50,
Uber.
£60.
Yeah.
So I was hightailing it. So I left Schloss, picked up the pace, double time down to Snobs. Everyone behind me was like, "Why are you running for?" I was like, "I've got a train to catch."
I've got a podcast.
yeah. And then so I fucked off. I made it in figures few. And it was a good job as well because if I hadn't done so, I had no battery on my phone by that point.
Yeah, that was endgame for you. You'd
Yeah,
been
I was
fucked.
gone.
I'm kind of glad I had the foresight to ring you to see where
Yeah,
you
because
were.
you had no idea.
Because
where I was.
I thought you'd gone home.
Yeah, I know.
I just assumed because me and Fel had been in Snobs for so long that you would have just
It was quite
fucking
late.
yeah. Well, like you said, I just assumed you just got bored and made your own way home with like one of the other lads or something.
Yeah, it was literally though uncanny the timing. You were
Yeah.
in a taxi and I just fucking left. It was like this is made to be.
Mad.
So I sprinted across Birmingham basically about 4 a.m.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, the Uber drive wasn't pretty.
No, I fell asleep.
That's when the hangover came to the fore.
This is why you've got to be competent with running, right? Because you never know when you have to pull it out of the bag.
Yeah, true.
When I'm pissed, I can back myself to do a 7-minute mile. So when there's a fucking
And you can take comfort from that.
exactly.
can't
So when there's a taxi waiting, I'm good to go, mate.
Mm.
I'm fucking confident. Right. Anyway, side note. Go on.
you? Yeah, on a side note, that's pretty much the end of the evening, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that was the end game for us. And like you said, waking up in the morning wasn't pretty because we'd had 2 nights on the bounce.
That was
and no sleep.
fucking horrendous. Like, we basically spent all Sunday walking.
Yeah.
Just it's the only thing that made me felt normal.
Like you said though, when we hungover, we like to do some fizz. But because of how hungover we were, the levels, we couldn't bring ourselves to do anything really strenuous. So the first thing we did was
We did a bodyweight walk in the morning, and then later in the day we progressed to a weighted walk. Basically,
so
didn't
we did some progressive overload. So in total, we did like 2 hours of walking. To be fair, and it did sort me out. It's the fresh air, the little bit of movement, and the ability to just like gob off for an hour, I guess.
Yeah.
Really did square me away, and then I just had some scram
Well,
and
I think-
went again.
Like a decent brisk walk, like especially when the weather's nice in the summer, is a massively underrated hangover cure.
Yeah, it is. And also, we then went to watch the football in a bar. Didn't have any drink, but we just sat in like a dark, dingy room. And 60 minutes in, you called it, didn't you? Like, mate, I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, we were watching Arsenal. I mean, to be fair, we were watching a fucking pretty dismal Arsenal display.
Yeah.
But even so, like, just I don't know. I didn't think about like the atmosphere of like being in a boozer, the darkness. Like, it just wasn't sitting right with me. Like, I just had to remove myself from that situation. I felt
but
fucking
then
grim.
But then, when you get out into the fresh air again, you sound. So it kind of compounds our point that getting fresh air and sunlight when you're hungover is good to go.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, pretty successful weekend, I'd say that.
On the whole, I'd say we smashed it.
Yeah, we did. That was
Not that it was about us, but
yeah, again, congratulations. Al.
yeah, he's not here.
Thanks for letting us be a part of your send.
Yeah, so it was kind of came full circle from being a wholesome day to just being reprobates on the piss.
Yeah, well, I think we ticked all boxes because obviously we got the wholesome stuff in with his family, and it was nice to spend time with them and see all the other lads' families and stuff, and kind of just generally like soak up the wholesomeness of that.
Yeah.
But then we also got the kind of the grotty send in there as well,
exactly.
which again needs to happen.
You got
to air.
You got to cover all
Exactly. You've got to air some demons every now and then.
Yeah, in one way or another. Yeah, so good weekend all round, but a bit heavy for me. I'm gonna have to lay off it for a bit. I'm not advocating binge drinking, by the way.
No, definitely not. But like, this is obviously Al passing out is like 3 years in the making, isn't
Special occasions, exactly. Yeah. And I'm all for balance, so I'm not gonna be one of these fucking nauseas, right? Who tells you how bad alcohol is for you and never fucking drinks, because that's just again, like we were on about with our carnivore friend, not very sustainable for most people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's be honest. Like, we all like to have a celebrate.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to drink.
Yeah.
We like drinking.
Well,
but it's all about moderation, isn't it?
Well, yes, drinking every night is not good for you. Yeah. Drinking every weekend is not good for you. But once in a while, to celebrate something, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, especially something worthy like that. And again, unlike our friend the Carnivore hat, I didn't order plain fucking patties from McDonald's at the end of the night.
Exactly. What was it? He was saying he did another thing, not to come back to him too much, but he did another thing about what he drinks and that on a night out.
Oh, yeah. He drinks the fucking most, like, vanilla, like, repulsive drink. It's like slimline...
Vodka water, isn't it?
It's like vodka lime soda, which is normally what birds drink who want to... Like, are on a cut, basically, who like don't consume any calories.
The thing is with this bloke as well, he's not even got a great rig.
This is one of my main points of contention with it, because you can't. So at least like the Liver King has done a load of steroids, so he's got a decent rig.
Yeah.
Like, he won't be alive for very long, but at least he looks like he's got a decent rig. This bloke is just a hat.
Yeah.
A hat with a dead rig,
and it's not even working for him.
No.
What are you preaching?
Yeah.
I mean,
So sorry to come back to him, but he's rent free.
Yeah, exactly. As you can probably tell.
So we started dwelling on negativity there. So we need to bring it up with some reasons to be cheerful to finish off.
We've each got one this week,
and they're both running related.
Yeah. So to bring it back full nose. Do you want to go first? Yeah.
So mine is Kevin Sinfield, who is the England Rugby Union defence coach currently. And to be fair, he has done something recently, but he's been doing this for years. Like, he used to play rugby league for Leeds Rhinos with a bloke called Rob Burrow, who got diagnosed with MND a few years ago, motor neurons disease. And ever since then, basically, he's just been fucking smashing out marathons, effectively raising money for this charity. I think he's raised like over like 8 million now.
That is mental.
Mental for the motor neurons disease, which obviously is a fucking horrible disease, by the way. Absolutely horrible. So I think he did 7 marathons in 7 days at one point. I think he ran from Murrayfield in Scotland up in Edinburgh to Old Trafford for like the Super League final or something.
That's mad.
Mental. Basically, he's a runner. He's fit as fuck, which is admirable within itself.
Yeah.
You know, to say that he's not playing anymore, he's retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just he's a coach now.
Just stick to it.
But the fact he's putting himself in these places to raise money for a good cause is something I can definitely get behind.
How much he's raised? Fucking 8 million is insane.
Yeah, so the reason I was my attention was brought back to this, I've obviously been aware of it for a while because I'm a bit of a rugby nose. But yesterday they organised a marathon in Leeds for Rob Burrow because that's where he's from. And at the finish, so Kevin pushed him round in his kind of like adapted wheelchair.
Oh, sick.
And then at the finish line, they stopped. Like, they got him out and physically carried him over the line.
I did see this. Yeah, I saw that photo.
Yeah, which was quite powerful.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so happy days. That's very wholesome.
There you go. So yeah, mine's running related as well, like we said. So this Sunday, my man set a 100k run ultramarathon record. So Alexander Sorokin, don't know where he's from, but it sounds like Scandinavian vibes. He did a 100k run, right, in 6 hours and 5 minutes. So I'll break this down a little bit.
Wait, in how long?
6 hours and 5 minutes.
Right.
So bear in mind.
So some people run a marathon in that time.
Exactly that. So some people did the London Marathon slower than that, and that's less than half the distance, which is ridiculous. So I'll go through a little bit of the stats. So average pace, okay, held 3:39 per kilometre and 5:53 per mile. So bear in mind for our marathon, we consider ourselves quite fit. You held what, 8:15, whatever? 8:10?
Yeah, I think so.
I held a 7:57. So over 2 minutes per mile faster. Again, for double the distance. Holding that means he's probably ran faster than that and had breaks and then ran faster because it's 6 hours. So he's this is where it gets mad. So his 5k was 18:17. Okay?
Right.
His 10k was 36:33.
Right.
His 10 miles, which we used to do in about an hour 20, right, was 56:20, under an hour. His half marathon was 77 minutes.
That's disgusting.
And his full marathon was 2 hours and 34 minutes. And then he continued that and some. So two marathons is what, 84k. So he did another 16k on top of that.
I'll tell you what, fair play, that bloke is a freak.
That is mental, isn't it? So, like, to put some context on that, 18-minute 5k, my 18:17 5k, my 5k is a 19:04.
So I've never ran an 18-minute 5k.
No.
I've never ran a 37-minute 10k.
That's insane. That is. I don't even know what my 10k is. But again, my marathon was about an hour slower than that, and he's done 2 and some, which is insane. Yeah, so well done to fucking that guy who's absolutely blown the running world out of fucking
He smashed
proportion.
that. God, these records just keep coming thick and
It's
faster,
mad,
don't they?
innit?
Like, the marathon time just keeps getting shaved down as
Yeah,
well.
I know. It's the same as like back in the day when they used to have people used to say no one's gonna be able to break the 4-minute mile, no one's gonna be able to swim across the channel. Someone does it, and then before you know it, like more and more people start to do it. Up until then, it's been a massive like, stone in the wall that no one's been able to do it. Like Roger Bannister, when he ran the 4-minute mile, everyone told him there's no way. Like, people were telling him how impossible it was that the human body could go that fast because of oxygen turnover and cramping and all this sort of stuff. And he was like, right, okay, cool, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And same with Eliud Kipchoge with his 2-hour marathon, which will probably get broken at some point.
Yes. Well, the guy that won the London Marathon this year recorded the second ever fastest marathon time.
2:01.
He was like, half a minute slower than Kipchoge. So there's nothing in that, is there? If you think about over 26 miles.
Yeah, like a second a mile.
So that'll get, I reckon that record will only stand for...
He's young as well.
Yeah,
he's like 21.
I reckon that Kipchoge's marathon record will only stand for like another year, if that.
So the interesting thing about that bloke, Kelvin Kiptum, it's called, is that his first half marathon was in about 1:01, right? His second half marathon was in about 58 minutes, which is about 2 minutes behind the half marathon world record.
That's mad.
It's fucking insane. So like you say, people just keep absolutely smashing these records.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Love that. Anyway, so there's a few reasons to be cheerful if you're running Norse anyway.
Yeah. Even if you can't, even if you're not, you can appreciate someone smashing it up.
Yeah, that is mental. And that's a wrap for this episode.
It is, indeed. What's next?
It's another weekend recap next week.
Okay, yes.
So
we've got another big weekend this week.
We won't dive into it too much because we want to be a surprise.
As I look forward, we've got a event this weekend that we're going down to, and the subsequent shenanigans will likely make for a good podcast episode. So we're gonna say no more about that and come back to that next Monday.
Yeah, so just look forward to some self-reflection and some anecdotes next week.
Exactly. And there might be a well reported hat there, so that'll be good for everyone to know.
That's got our helmet of the week squared away, and he could be the second person to be promoted to hat of the week.
Yeah.
But that remains to be seen.
Exactly. Right. Cool. Well, thanks for watching. And we'll see you next week for our another weekend recap.
Yeah. See you in a bit.